Well, alright. Welcome back to the hook, punch, and variations. This is part 3, and we'll be taking an extra look at getting the body behind the punch. Our location is still the same area. We've just moved a bit because I thought it would be an easy view of the footwork when it comes to the thrusting and lunging moves, especially in part 4, which will be about thrusting and lunging. There may be a few edited cuts in part 3 and 4, which is because other folks will pass through the recording, so I cut them out for respect of privacy. Okay, let's do this. Here's a quick demonstration of how the body helps with the punch rotations and leaning or dipping into it, or to drive it. One point is to not isolate the punch to only upper body, like this. But start adding some rotation and stepping into your punch and driving your punch. With this left hook, I can throw it by leaning in on either side. Each side gives me a certain kind of leverage, which brings a certain kind of body and momentum with it. You can throw from multiple angles as you move through the lean, doubling and tripling up the hook. Just changing my position to the camera so you can see different sides, steps, rotations, leans. Okay, let's explore some more rotation, leans, and body with and without the step. Here's dominant stepping into it, stepping to create the angle and path through the hook. Here's dipping into it and leaning through it. Here's walking into it. The dominant step with the 3/4 high elbow hook. The forward step with looping high elbow. Here's walking into a rotation with no dip. Directly at the camera rotations. A step loop and then compact rotation loop, followed up by advancing left uppercut hook combo. Here's some side profile views. Notice the leans and rotations, but no steps. A little more with no step. Okay, this next set is for stepping and advancing and retreating. Varying the arm angles on both the X and Y axis. This involves arms and shoulders, body, and combinations of them all. Again.
Morning.
And let's try turning over on the hook. Turning over can really drive through an opponent's guard, can end up hammering the side of the head, the temple, the ear, the jaw. To the body, it's good for hammering the ribs, kidney, stuff like that. You can be in the crouch and loop. Here's some advancing loops and turnovers, some lunge too. Use a tight body rotation for sharp snapping turnovers. Always do a frequent self-check about your hand positions and guard while punching. For practice, put a guarded fist on your head so you feel the challenge of keeping it there, and you easily feel when it lifts off your head. And put it in different spots. Okay? Rhythm flow sets, coordinated. Efficient movement, not too big, rotating the stance. A kind of sneaky switch to southpaw. Right hook turnovers. Okay, let's coordinate the big step a bit. Now, what we're seeing is the step that not only creates the angle, but also creates leverage and momentum. Leverage here is a lot like a balance thing, acting like a pivot too, like a pivot for kicking. Now here's an example of using the lean and rotations to slip in some longer distance hooks. You turn a few hooks over on someone and they might not want to stick around. As your opponent retreats, follow up with a longer hook. Or your opponent advances, maybe to clinch. Follow up and deny by striking during your retreat. Mix in some straight strikes to keep your opponent's guard from just waiting for hooks. Alright folks, part 4 will be about lunging and thrusting with the hook.